So what really makes a great teacher? I mean, is it the degree hanging on their wall, or is it something much deeper, something that speaks to the soul? Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating spiritual concept from Hanshi Deena Naidu. It contrasts our idea of a modern educated teacher with this ancient concept of a teacher's soul, a guide whose wisdom is literally forged over lifetimes.
Just think about it for a second. The most impactful teacher you've ever had. What made them so special? Was it just that they knew their subject inside and out, had the degree to prove it? Or was it something else? An innate wisdom, maybe? A feeling that their guidance came from a place way beyond any textbook? That question is right at the heart of what we're exploring today.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the path we're all familiar with, the modern teacher. This is the model that our entire educational system is built on, and its foundation is planted firmly in academia.
Right, so the path for a modern teacher is pretty straightforward. It's all about years of academic study, earning those official degrees, which then qualifies you for a profession, a way to make a living. But here's an interesting detail the source material points out. While your qualifications are checked and double-checked, a really deep assessment of your inner character, well, that isn't necessarily a top requirement for the job. The real focus is on the skills you've learned and the credentials you've earned.
All right, now let's completely flip the script and look at a profoundly different idea, the teacher soul. According to these teachings, this isn't a career you just choose in this life. No, it's the culmination of a massive spiritual journey that unfolds across many lifetimes.
So, what exactly is a teacher's soul? Well, the source defines it as a soul that has evolved over countless lifetimes to reach what's called a high vibrational frequency. Think of it like a state of really deep inner harmony and spiritual maturity. This whole evolution is described as opening up the body's spiritual energy centers, the chakras, which prepares that person to teach others on a truly profound level.
This slide really boils it all down, doesn't it? For the modern teacher, the foundation is academic study, all within a single lifetime. But for the teacher's soul, the foundation is the wisdom you've gathered from many, many lives. One is a career, the other is literally the evolution of the soul itself. So you might be asking, how does that evolution even happen?
So yeah, how does a soul actually get to this elevated state? It's not random. The source describes a really clear four-stage progression. It's a developmental journey that every single soul is on. Here's how that journey plays out. It starts with the new soul, which is pretty focused on the ego. Then it moves up to the young soul stage, where some of the more primitive animalistic instincts start to fade away. But the huge shift happens with the mature soul. This is where genuine goodness and compassion really begin to blossom. And finally, all of that leads to the teacher's soul, a being whose whole purpose is defined by love and service to others.
The mature soul stage is the real turning point, the game changer in this journey. This is where all those positive human qualities we admire, kindness, compassion, they start to transform into something more. The source calls it a translation into divinity. You could almost say this is the incubator where a future teacher is formed.
So what does that look like in real life? The source gives us these specific signs. We're talking about compassion, tolerance, kindness, forgiveness. These aren't just things you do sometimes. They become a fundamental part of who you are. It's a state where your consciousness is in full action, and all that goodness inside just expands.
And here it is. This is the final ingredient. After all that development, what's the thing that pushes a mature soul into becoming a teacher soul? It's this motivation right here. Your primary purpose becomes all about love and service. It's not just about your own personal growth anymore. It's about using that growth to lift up everyone else.
Okay, so now that we've seen the whole journey of the teacher's soul, let's put these two paths right next to each other. This is where the profound differences really come into focus.
This breakdown makes it all crystal clear. The basis for a modern teacher? Academics. For a teacher's soul, it's lifetimes of learning through cause and effect, what we call karma and dharma. The motivation shifts from earning a living to love and service. And the goal, this is a huge one. It's not just teaching a subject, like math. It's teaching something way more fundamental, how to live. And because of that, the method changes from just instruction to actually leading by example. And get this. The source also attributes some pretty extraordinary abilities to a fully developed teacher soul, and these aren't skills you learn in a classroom. They're innate qualities that just emerge from this higher state of being. They're described as natural healers, genuinely clairvoyant, and able to intuitively feel the vibrational energy of people they meet.
So as we wrap this up, let's focus on that last, crucial distinction, the actual method of teaching. Because for the teacher's soul, it all comes down to embodying the wisdom they share.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It suggests that real teaching, in a spiritual sense, isn't about passing along information. It's about demonstrating a way of being. The teacher has to be the qualities they want to pass on to others.
Yep, at the end of the day, the number one method is leading by example. The life of the teacher is the lesson. Their own journey, all their experiences, all their wisdom, that becomes the textbook for others to learn from. So we'll leave you with this to think about. We've looked at two very different paths. One is about teaching subjects, and the other is about teaching how to live. It really brings up a powerful question for all of us. When you look for guidance in your own life, what does true wisdom really look like to you?